Welcome to Exploring Orthodoxy, and good to see you, Geronda Savvas.
Good to see you again.
So for people that are new today to our study, we actually have the Revelation study in our playlist, and we're analysing it chapter by chapter. Geronda Savvas is analysing it actually with the information that he has read from the Holy Fathers. So this is a very unique study. We're not giving our opinions, but we are finding the answers from the Holy Fathers.
Exactly.
Okay, and today we're up to chapter 12. So what we'll do, would you like me to read the chapter 12 in full first, and then we'll go back here under to...
Yes, it's better. It's better.
Okay. Yep, so the English version is the New King James Version, and then we've got the Greek New Testament running parallel. So Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now salvation and strength and the kingdom of God and the power of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Now when the dragon saw that he had been cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. All right, a big chapter coming up here, Geronda.
Yes, a lot of things to say and to
things.
analyze.
Over to you now.
Chapter 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, and 14, they are very deep. We have to make a deep analysis in these chapters, and we will see many things. And I dare to tell that in these chapters, it's obvious that we can make a periplepsis of the Old and the New Testament. It's something you will see that it will be something incredible. So we're starting, and from verses 1. Now, we saw that John is changing his point of view time to time, and sometimes he's in heaven, and sometimes he is in earth. And we see this, that we are changing the scenes. Now, obvious, he's watching now something that is in the sky, because says, now a great sign appeared in heaven. In the Greek text, it says sky, and σημείο omega, όφθη εν το ουρανό, and he saw something great in the sky. Όφθη is appeared in the sky. Now he sees something that he's not anymore in the earth, because we saw in the previous chapter that he was in the earth and he was seeing what's going on with the two prophets and the Antichrist. But now the scenes, we are take these scenes and we go to the sky. Why? Because what we are going to see, it's between sky and earth. We will see why. He sees, when we say great sign, from now on we will see the same σημείον in Greek, sign in English. Σημείον in Greek, of course we can translate it that is a sign, but also the Greek word σημείο, we can interpret it in 11 different ways. So it's not so easy to make this interpretation in English, and to how can I say, to make metaphrases in English, but we will try also to give the meaning of the words in the Greek text, because as you know, sometimes the English text you can't give the meaning in one word. So John now sees a woman. What is the sign? The sign that he sees is a woman, that he's clothing the sun with the moon under her feet, and on her head,
a garland of 12 stars.
A garland of 12 stars. Now we see something very, very strange. This woman that we see have two meanings. The Holy Father says, is the church, is symbolize the church. That's why this woman is clothing with the sun. The sun is it's the symbol of God, because spread the light, and as you know, the light, the truth belongs to God. And the moon that is under her feet symbolize this worldly the earth, and the world that belongs to Satan. That's why he's over the Satan's rules. That's why the sun is dressed in this woman, is clothing the sun, and the moon is under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. The 12 stars, the garland of 12 stars symbolize the apostles, and symbolize the preaching of the apostles. So we see that the Holy Father is interpreted that we have the church, but also we have Mother Mary. And why we have Mother Mary? Because we will see this below. This is something incredible, actually. because many times we see that, and we heard heretic teachings that the church is the icon of the Holy Trinity. This is wrong, because the Holy Trinity, you can iconize the Holy Trinity. It's something that is unbuilded, and you can give a form, or you can give an icon to the Holy Trinity. That's why the icon of the church here now is very obvious that is Mother Mary, because also the Holy Saint Andreas Caesarius was saying that the blood and the body that Jesus took, it from Mother Mary. And what we are what we are taking as a Holy Communion is the body and the blood of Jesus Christ, that he took it from her mother. And of course now it's not just a body of a human person, but this body and the blood is a God body and blood. It's a mystery, but he took it from Mother Mary. And this is very important. That's why the icon of the church is the most holy Mother Mary. And now, if we go lower,
Why would she be the icon and not Jesus?
Jesus is the head of the church.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is the builder of the church. He found the foundation of the church is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, but the icon of the church, not the church, the icon of the church. If we have to paralyze the church and to give an icon to the church, is Holy Mother, Most Holy Mother Mary. And why? We will see this this chapter below. We will see all these things that we said now, and we will analyze this.
All right. So Revelation 12:2. Then being
Yeah.
with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth.
Okay. Then being with child. In the Greek text, it says that in her womb had a child. Και εργαστρή έχουσα. Εργαστρή έχουσα, that means that... Okay. Okay, now we will see that in chapter 12, verses 2, that this woman is pregnant. Then being with child, it means that in the Greek text says και εργαστρή έχουσα. Γαστρή is womb. Έχουσα is that have in her womb a child. And we see now this woman that she is pregnant, and she's cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. Now we know that Virgin Mary, when he gave birth to Jesus Christ, he wasn't in labor and in pain. When she gave birth to our Lord, it was a mystery. She didn't lose her virginity. It's very important. That's why we see Mother Mary to have 3 stars in her shoulders and 1 star in her head, usually in the icons. And this means that she was virgin before the pregnant. She was virgin when she was giving birth to Jesus, and she was virgin after the birth. So we see now that this is not matching. It's not matching to Mother Mary. It's matched to the icon of the church, because now these symbolize the church. That we know that Apostle Paul said in one of his epistles that he was saying, "My children, I am in pain, and I give birth to you continuously, and I will be in pain until you will raise in Christ." And we see that Paul was giving birth to these people, that he was he was giving catechesis to them. And this is the meaning, that the church is being with child, the children of the church that are born from her. It's not something that it's a mystery. And that's why the church cries out in labor and in pain to give birth. To give birth to who? To the people that they reborn from the church. They are getting they take the baptize from them from the church, and the church tries to raise these people and to make them worthy to go to the heaven, to the kingdom of heaven. And this is the meaning, because we know that Mother Mary didn't have labor and pain in when he was giving birth to Jesus Christ. So that's why I said this is the icon of the church. And also, when if we see the martyrs and if we see all the monks and the saints of the church, that it wasn't an easy thing. It's not easy thing to save your soul. You know, you have to go through pain, through martyria. You have to go through the confession of the faith, and it's not an easy. It's not easy to be a Christian. You have to go through pain. That's why here, the people that they belong to the church, and the church give birth, give birth to these people, to the Christians. That's why we say she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth.
Okay. Revelation 12:3, and another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads.
Okay, now we have two things. We have the woman, and now we see a dragon. These two things are the two mysteries that Saint Paul says, that is, he says, is mega to mysterium Savvas. We have two mysteries. The mystery of Evsevia, I don't know how is in English this word, Evsevia.
What does that mean?
What?
What does that word mean?
It means the holiness, the Evsevia. When someone is Evsevis, it's honor God, and he honor everything that have to do with God, you know. And we have two mysteries. The one mystery is about the devil. It's about the sins, and the other is about the purity of the faith. The purity of the faith. Yes, Evsevia is the purity of the faith, and the other is the opposite of the purity of the faith. Here, that we show the church that symbolize the purity of the faith and the people. We have another sign, because the sign is something that is not a spot, we can say, but it's as the Holy Fathers interpret, it's an event, this sign. And now it's appearing as the dragon in heaven, but in the sky. And in opposite the church, we have the devil that fighting the church. So we have the opponent of the church. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, this is the Satan, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems in his heads. What does this mean, the 7 heads and the 10 horns? We know that the horns symbolize the authority, the power, and the 7 heads symbolize the power of the devil, and the systems that he's dominate. Because as we know, and that's why we have to also to take pieces from the Holy Bible and the Old and the New Testament. When Jesus Christ went to the desert after he was baptized, he was tempted by the devil, and the third temptation, it was about the authority of the earth. And the devil said to Jesus that I will give you. He saw him all the power and all the kingdoms and of the church, of the I'm sorry, of the world. And he said to him, I will give you all these things, the kingdoms, the power, the authorities, if you bound and you bound to me, and you give proskynisi. How is in this word?
What is proskynisi again?
If you worship me, you know, and that's then Jesus Christ said, "Go behind me, Satan." And he said, "You will only worship your God and only Him." So from this text, we understand that this authority, of the kingdoms and this world authority, is given to Satan. Is given by God. It's not his. Satan have nothing, as the Holy Father says. But God gave this authority to him, so he will tempt people, and people will have to choose with who they are going to go, with Jesus Christ or with Satan. That's why the Holy Fathers interpreted these words and said that the seven heads are the systems of the Masonry, of the governments, of all these authorities, worldly authorities that we have, and the 10 horns that are on these seven heads is the strength that the devil took from Jesus Christ, and the seven diadems on his heads symbolize the authority that he have, because the diadems, it's a kingdom sign. The kings have these diadems in the crown. They are crowns.
Royal crown.
Okay, royal crowns. It means it symbolizes the royal authority that he have under the people. So we see that this dragon conquer in a way the world, and his we can say rule this world, but not by his power. This power is given from God to him.
So, but this is happening in heaven, isn't it, at the moment? Because it says another sign appeared in heaven.
Yes, this sign appeared in heaven. John sees these things as a vision in heaven. He is in heaven, and he sees this as a vision in heaven. Not that these things are in heaven. He sees this as a vision, or not in heaven, in the sky. This is the difference. Not in heaven. The Greek text says sky, not heaven.
Okay. All right. So he sees the sign in heaven, but this is not happening in heaven. This is actually happening here on earth.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Revelation 12:4. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Okay, now we see that his tail, what happened, his tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. This happened before, in the beginning, before the world created by God. God created the angels. And now we see the fall of the angels. We see something that happened before before the earth, before the creation of the earth. And what says now in this verses 4, his tail drew a third of the star of heaven and threw them to the earth, is symbolize the fall of the Satan, of the Lucifer, that he wanted to become God. He wanted to set his throne near to the throne of God, to the Holy Trinity, and that's why he fell down and he became devil. And from Lucifer, that Lucifer in Greek, eosphoros, means the one who has the light, because we don't have to forget that the best, the most light, the most light angel, it was Eosphorus, and from Eosphorus, from Lucifer, God was giving the knowledge, and Lucifer was passing the knowledge to the other angels. Lucifer was the first angel. We have seven archangels. The first archangel, he was the first archangel, and we can say that the first. I'm sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. It was 10 groups, 10 teams of angels. The first team, it was belonging to Lucifer, and the first team of the angels fell down, and also the third of the angels follow Lucifer, because they was following him, because they was trust him, because he was taking the knowledge from God and passing to the other. That's why he says his tail drew the a third of the stars. The third of the stars are the angels, okay, of heaven, and threw them to the earth, and they became demons. The heaven, the heaven here in the Greek text, the heaven is not heaven, but it's sky, and from sky they go to the earth, meaning from the glory of God and from angels of light that they become angels of darkness. That's why from sky they go to the earth, and you have to know that the earth symbolize the earthly thinking and the earthly way of life, that it's sins and far away from God. That's why we have the sky and the earth. Not that the earth is got something bad, but it's symbolizing the demonic way of living.
So, with this particular verse, it says his tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. So it's talking about the devil or Satan taking
Yes,
a third of the angels that were in heaven and making them follow him down to the earth, isn't it?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Is the fall of the Lucifer.
Fall of Lucifer. So that didn't that battle then occur in heaven?
Yes, it was a battle, but it wasn't. We can't say that it was a battle, because when the Lucifer thought, and he wanted to become like God and to set his throne, as we know from the Old Testament, and he wanted to set his throne near to the throne of the Holy Trinity of God, then he fell down. It didn't happen a war, but we will see, because in this text, in this chapter, we see a war between the Archangel Michael and Lucifer, and we will explain what does this mean. It's not the same thing, but it have to do with this also.
Yeah, because then it says, and the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born.
Okay, now we see that the dragon that fell down, this dragon is the Satan, is the Lucifer. Um, Devil in Greek means the one who says lies and accuse the other people, accusing the other people, but not in reality, accusing. The accuser is devil. So we see that this dragon, that is the devil, stood before the woman. Who is the woman now? The woman is the church, who has ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born. But in this case, now, the woman is actually Mother Mary. Why? We have to go back now.
Oh no.
We have to go. Yeah, not back. We have to make some explanations That's why we go slowly in Old Testament, because all these things we give the clues that we have. We give all these interpretations, and all these interpretations we have to match them and to connect them with the rest of the apocalypses, and before and after. That's why it's very important to know exactly the text, what means the text, how we interpret the text, because we will use it to interpret the whole Testament. You know,
And now,
we know. Yes,
now where it says, and he stood before the woman, now he's standing before Mary, who was ready
yes,
to give birth to Jesus,
yes. Why?
devour her
Because
child as soon as it was born.
yes, we go back. We go to the Genesis. We go to
Mm-hmm.
the first book of Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
and we will go to the discussion between Adam and Eve and
Mm-hmm.
the Satan.
Okay.
When Adam and Eve fall, and they ate the forbidden fruit that God said to them not to eat it. God went there and asked why. Eva and Adam also, Eve and Adam. And when he gave the punishment to these two people, Adam and Eve, then he replied to Satan that you will crawl all the time with your belly in the earth and all these things. And he said that I will make a war between the woman and you, and you will injure his feet, and he will crush your head. And this was referring to Jesus Christ. That's why the devil knows from then that God is going to give another chance to the humanity to become gods and to save them. And that's why from the prophecies and from this, Satan knew that the Messiah will come, and he was waiting. That's why he was waiting, and because he knew from Isaiah, from the prophecy of Isaiah, that the virgin will give birth, and this boy that the virgin woman will give birth will rule and will be the Messiah. Because he knew this,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the time of Jesus Christ, before Jesus Christ born, he was looking all the virgins, and he was trying not to be a virgin in the earth, and especially in Israel. That's why he was chasing the virgins, and he was making the virgins to lose their virginity before the marriage, because he knew that the Messiah will come from a Virgin Mary. That's why he here says that, and can we go before in the chapter in verses 4? Okay, that's why the dragon stood before the woman. Before the woman means that he was observing all the women of Israel who is virgin and who is going to give birth, because he was trying to find the virgin that will give birth, because by this way he was going to cancel the the how can I say, to cancel to
Jesus
cancel
coming into the world.
the yes, yes, the saving of the world,
Mm-hmm.
the saving of the humankind.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, because he was observing, and he was. That's why Herodes, the king Herodes, he took commandments from. He took commandments from. Um, wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as soon as the devil was cast down, the battle of good and evil was on.
Yes, and when the three magi
Mm-hmm.
went to give worship and to give the gifts to
Gifts.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
yes, Herodes the king, took orders from Satan to kill these 14,000 people because he wanted to annihilate all this thing, the plan of God to save the world. That's why the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth to devour her child as soon as it was born, because he wanted to cancel the plan of God. Okay.
Revelation 12:5, she bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne.
Okay. Now we see that this woman, that is Virgin Mary, born a male child. In the Greek text, is not male child. It's male. It's Ion. Ion is son. It's not child.
Mm-hmm.
And you will say to me, it's very important. It's very important. It's very, very important, because it says that, and she gave birth in son, a male son. And now you will say to me, okay, to say male child, it's more appropriate, because it's child that is male. But if you say male, a son, it's like you say gave birth to a son, two-time son. It's not making sense, but it's making sense because in Greek, ion arena means that he gave birth to a son, that he was male, and male symbolized the authority and the power, that it wasn't only a son, not a daughter, a son, a male, but had this courage and this power that gave him the possibility to save the world. That's why we say Ion Arena, to emphasize his power, his authority, and his strength against the evil. That's why you see some words in the English text, we can't interpret it and we can't give the meaning. Male child is Ion Arena, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Now, that's why this son, this child that was born from Mother Mary, it was the person that all the prophets prophesies that he is the Messiah, that he is going to rule all nations with a rod of iron. The rod of iron mean express and reveals the authority of this person that is given from God.
Mm-hmm.
And the rod of iron is something that is king. That it's a sign of king, because the kings have a rod of iron. Iron because express the power, and the rod express the authority. And her child was caught up to God and his throne. This child was caught up to God. Why? Irpasti in Greek text is irpasti, was taken. It's in a violent way, not in an easy way, but irpasti was taken in a violent way from to God and to His throne. It means that it was this child was protected by God, because as we saw before in verses 4, the devil was ready to eat this child. That's why we saw that Mother Mary, when he gave birth to this child, after some time, after a year that the kings of Persia went to Bethlehem to give worship and this presents to Jesus Christ, and Herodes found out that he is the Messiah, and the devil tried to kill Jesus Christ through the king. Mother Mary went to Egypt.
Which is this part now.
Exactly. Now we exactly.
Then the woman.
But we have to. Yeah. Yes.
To go into this one. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Yes. Now we are coming to complicated things.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to solve these mysteries now, according to the Holy Fathers. We see now the Holy Mother, Most Holy Mary, to avoid the persecution of Herodes and to avoid the death of Jesus Christ. He took him and they went to Egypt. Egypt symbolized two things: the power. That's why we said before, if you remember the chapter 11, that the place that Antichrist killed the two prophets was Jerusalem, the town that calls Sodom and Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And Sodom was before because of the sin that will be there, and Egypt because of the authority of the power. So Egypt symbolized two things: symbolize the authority, the power, but also symbolize the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's why we see Mother Mary goes to the desert to save her son, and now we have the woman that here symbolize the church, because as we said before, the woman is the church and also is the Mother Mary. Here symbolize the church. One says, then the woman fled because we saw that her son went to the throne of God. So now the woman is without the son. The son is the throne, and the woman that is the people. The church is are the people. It's not something anonymous. The church are the members of the church, who are the people, is the church. So the people, the woman now, the people, fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now we have two things here. We have the great persecution that the Antichrist will do, and we see that this woman that is persecuted by the Satan, he will go to the wilderness, that is the place of the church, because always the place of the church wasn't the cosmic and the big cities, but was the simple places, and was the places that there was deserts from the power and from the passions. This is what the eremos, the wilderness here that says is not wilderness exactly, but is desert.
Mm-hmm.
And the desert symbolize the lack of passions and the fulfill of virtues. That's why the woman, the place of the woman is the desert, the wilderness. And she had a place there prepared by God, not by her, that the God will help the people, that they will go away because of the persecution of the Antichrist. And they should feed her. Who are they going to feed her? They should feed her. Who? God will find ways, and the woman, the people, will have food, and they will have protection. It's very important. From who? They will have protection from God, because the Antichrist will persecuting the woman for how many days? 1,260 days. 1,260 days are 3.5 years. 3.5 years are the years that the Antichrist will rule the world. And below, we will see these 2,260 days, not that they will, the Apostle John will give us these 1,260 days in another way. It will say time, Keron, Kekerus, 2 times and half of a time. Also, time, 2 times and a half of time means 1 year, 2 years and a half. You know, Also, these are the years that the Antichrist will conquer and will rule the world. And also, it will be the difficult years for the Christians, that they will be persecuted by the Antichrist and his people, all the system. That's why they will go to the desert. Desert means out of the system, and to desert areas, that they will have protection from God. We don't know how God will protect people, but and also we don't know how God will feed people. We have that's why I said that we have to say many things to analyze. It's not easy to analyze these things. We know that when the Jews went away from Egypt and they went to the desert to worship God as they had to do it, and to go to Israel from where they started, God was feeding them with the food of manna. Was raining food, and we call it in Greek manna. I don't know how you call it in English.
Same manner.
The same. Okay, manna. Okay, and for 40 years, God was protecting His people from the sun, from the cold of the desert, and he was guiding these people with the clouds. We said it before also in
Mm-hmm.
the interpretation that we do. This cloud was the grace of God, and the same Jesus Christ, that he was protecting his people, and he was raining food for his people. So we know from this example, from this historical event, because it's not something that is a fairy tale, it's an historical event. We
Mm-hmm.
know from this historical event that God, Jesus Christ, will protect his people the same way that he was protecting Jews when they was in the desert. And behold, you see, desert, the Jews went to the desert to protect themselves from the Egyptians. Now, the same thing is going to happen when the Antichrist will persecute the Christians. The Christians will go to the desert, that they will receive protection and food from Jesus Christ. Exactly the same things.
Mm-hmm. All right. Revelation 12:7. A war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer.
Okay, now, uh, you know, sometimes we see when you see a movie,
Mm-hmm.
we see that the scenes are changing, and sometimes we go to one scene and then another scene, and then we are going to another country, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're going to another country, and we're changing the scenes. Now we are changing also the scene, and we go from the earth, we go to the sky, we go to heaven. And we say, and again, το πόλεμος εν το ουρανό, and a war broke out in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
This happened when when Satan fell from heaven because of his egoism, okay, because of his proudness, because he wanted to become God, like God. And Michael and his angels fought with the dragon. It wasn't exactly a fight, because when the fall of the demons happened, when the fall of the angels happened, and as I said to you before, uh, Lucifer, with his tail, take the third of the angels with him. What happened? Uh, all the angels was going to fall and to become demons, but Michael, Archangel Michael,
Mm-hmm.
stood in front of the other angels and said to them, I will say it in Greek first and then in English, στόμεν καλός, στόμεν μεταφόβου, and stop the falling of the other angels, and he came in contradiction with the Lucifer, because Lucifer, in a way, command all the other angels to escort him in his fall, to follow him, But Archangel Michael said, no, stomen kalos means we stop here. Stomen metaphovu is we stop with fear against God. And Archangel Michael stopped the falling from the two-thirds of the other angels. That's why we have the angel of light and we have the angels of darkness. And this was the fight between Archangel Michael and the dragon that is the Lucifer. And when we say, and they fought with the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. This means that from the fault that these angels, Satan and his angel had, they fall from heaven and they went to earth. This is the fall of the devil. And also, we have to know that this is something incredible, that we have to be very careful, that also it happened to us, this fight, because we are Christians, we are baptized in the name of Jesus Christ, we dressed Jesus Christ, but it's very easy for us to have to fall down from the virtue and to follow Satan. That's why always this fight between the angel of light and the angels of darkness. And this we took it and we put it in our position, that we are fighting to have light in our souls, in our hearts, because the darkness want to conquer us. And we always have to be in this fight between not fight against the evil and the dark forces, that is not only Satan, but also the people that they represent, the darkness. So all these things from the Apocalypse, we have to take it also and to put it in our fight that we're doing. That's why it's very difficult to interpret and to analyze Apocalypse.
That's right, because even in today and the church services, they always say, stomen kalo.
Stomen metaphor.
Stomen
Yes.
metaphor. You hear that in every service. So it's always saying, to stand well, but with the faith.
Yes.
And what does that
That's
say?
why.
Yeah.
That's why the priest says, «Στόμεν καλός, στόμεν τα φόβου, πρόσχομεν την ανιάν αναφοράν ερηνίνη προσφέρουμεν».
What's that?
Πρόσχομεν is in Ελληνικά, is Greek. We have in a very deep, careful and very, very, very with Evlavia, we have to offer our praise in Lord, but with a fear against God. Yeah.
There you go. All right. So shall we stop there or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Excellent. All right. Thanks so much, Geronda. Savvas. A final message for the people?
The final message from the people is that we're always fighting with the dragon, because we are in the side of the light. The Orthodox Christians we are with the light, but we must not lose the light, because it's very easy. If the Lucifer, the first angel, the most powerful angel, fell from the sky, what we are, we are nothing in front of these powers, these angels. And if the first angel fell down, what is going to happen to us if we are not careful with our spiritual life? Because we fell down all the time. So we have always with humility and with love of God, to stand up, to repent, and always to ask from Jesus to give us strength to continue this road until the end, until the death, and to ask for forgiveness and to save us, because this is the most important thing. That's why we analyze Apocalypse is not just to gain knowledge and to show, to make, to show that we have the knowledge to interpret the apocalypse, but from this analysis to take all the elements, the clues that we need to be humble and to go near Jesus Christ in security, so we'll save our souls. This is the point.
That's right. And to help us stand well. Stormen.
Exactly. Storm and metaphor. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. God bless you and our listeners, and we'll continue the study next time.
God bless you.
Okay.